The increase in people working from home, even after the pandemic, has had several repercussions. Companies have cut back on office space, creating a significant drop in office building occupancy rates in major cities across the country. According to commercial real estate broker Cushman and Wakefield, the vacancy rate in U.S. office buildings has risen for 13 consecutive quarters. It's now 18.6% nationwide. In Houston, it's over 24%. Los Angeles, over 23%. In Chicago and Atlanta, office vacancies are more than 21%. And Midtown Manhattan is 17%, with areas around the city much higher. Many developers and banks are looking for ways to turn this trend around.
Given that we have a housing shortage, the natural thought would be to see if there could be some conversion of empty office spaces into housing units.
Now, Boston is encouraging exactly that and is not waiting for things to get worse. Boston's office vacancy rate is just over 10%. But its housing shortage is such that Boston is offering 75% tax breaks to convert office space to residential. Mark Scribner is with us. He's the managing director and a wealth advisor at Carson Wealth of Boston. Thanks for joining us on Scripps News Live. And Boston's mayor, Michelle Wu, announced the plan last week. But can you walk our viewers through how this works?
Well, the verdict is in. Work from home and remote hybrid working is here to stay for the foreseeable future. The concept, as you alluded to, is there's a big shortage of affordable housing here in Boston. So the plan is to offer incentives in the form of tax breaks to property owners, commercial property owners, to convert those properties into affordable housing.
Boston has seen, and you just said this, housing inventory fall by more than 56% since 2019. That's according to Realtor.com. It really paints a picture of the situation here. With office vacancies on the rise, could this really solve two problems at once? It's hard to kind of learn that there's a silver bullet when it comes to so many issues. Could this be one?
I think it's going to take a while for it to vet itself out. I mean, it is an experiment, and we unfortunately, I don't think we'll know for a couple of years if it's going to be effective. It's going to take a long time to convert some of these old properties in downtown Boston, for example. They have a lot of code issues. They have to be brought up to a standard of living for residential. So I think it's going to take a while.
To that point, let's say we give this the time that it needs, this program. How would you define that it's successful? How would we know that it worked?
Well, I mean, there's such a huge shortage of affordable housing here in Boston, and I don't think it's unique to Boston per se. It's happening all across the country. But we're going to have to look at the stats and see if people actually are going to move back into the city. There's been a lot of people that have moved out of Massachusetts for lots of different reasons, for taxes. But I do think it's going to take a while to see if it actually works.
Okay, and this pilot program is accepting applications until June of 2024. How can this help with affordable housing in the near future? I know you're saying that there would be some challenges, and I do want to get to that, but what points could be alleviated, if you will?
I think just, if you go onto the Boston website, for example, there's not a lot of visibility on, what kinds of applications and properties are going to be considered. So I think the state and the city is trying to, make it as clear as possible. I think communication and the expectations need to be clearly demonstrated how it's going to work.
You mentioned building codes might pose a challenge when it comes to this type of a program. What do you see as the biggest issue a program like this might face? Is it the coding and retrofitting all of this?
Yeah, I do think it's that. I mean, you just think about converting a commercial property. You need kitchens, bathrooms, plumbing, electrical, and there's a lot of old buildings here in Boston that need major retrofitting. And I think it's just going to depend on the property and the location.
All right, well, we will keep our eyes on this. I mean, certainly, like you said, this is a national issue, and cities, across the country, as we mentioned at the top of the segment. So we'll see how this all unfolds and keep an eye on it. Mark Scribner with Carson Wealth Boston, thank you for your insight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.